Wait, this can't be right. Maya, come look at this. Stanford just published results showing AI tutors outperformed actual professors in teaching physics concepts. Not by a little bit either. The students using the AI learned twice as fast.
That's... wow. I mean, I've been out of the classroom for 2 years now, but that hits differently. Are we talking about basic concepts or complex problem solving?
Both, apparently. They tested it with quantum mechanics. Not exactly elementary stuff. But here's what really got me. The AI tutors adapted to each student's learning style in real time. Something about dynamic pedagogical adjustment that no human could match.
Sorry, couldn't help overhearing. I'm in my senior year of CS, and honestly, this tracks with what I'm seeing. Half my professors are scrambling to redesign their courses because students are using AI for everything anyway.
But there's got to be more to teaching than just content delivery, right? What about motivation, mentorship, the human connection?
That's exactly what I thought. But listen to this quote from one of the student participants. The AI tutor never made me feel stupid for asking the same question 3 different ways. It just kept explaining until I got it.
Ouch, that's painfully familiar.
Mind if I join? I couldn't help but notice you're discussing the Stanford study. I've been teaching for 15 years, and I have some thoughts.
Please, we need your perspective. This is Professor James, everyone. He teaches philosophy at the State University.
The rush to declare human teachers obsolete is premature at best, dangerous at worst. Yes, AI can deliver information efficiently, but education isn't just information transfer. It's about developing critical thinking, fostering intellectual curiosity, building character.
With respect, Professor, have you tried any of these new AI tools? They're not just spitting out facts. The latest ones can engage in Socratic dialogue, challenge assumptions, guide discovery learning.
She has a point. When I was teaching middle school, I would have killed for an AI assistant that could give each of my 32 students personalized feedback on their writing. I spent weekends just trying to keep up with grading.
That brings us to another finding, microlearning through AI. There's this new approach called case study atomization, where complex scenarios get broken down into bite-sized, interconnected modules. Community colleges are seeing major improvements in completion rates.
Completion rates aren't the same as deep understanding. Are these students actually learning to think, or are they just completing tasks more efficiently?
Why can't it be both? In my algorithms class, we use an AI system that creates custom problem sets based on what each student struggles with. My friend who was failing suddenly started getting it because the AI figured out he needed more visual representations.
That's the kind of differentiation teachers dream about, but rarely have time to implement. I remember staying up until midnight trying to create 3 different versions of the same lesson for different learning styles.
Here's what's really interesting, though, the research on AI-resilient assessments. Universities are completely rethinking how they test knowledge because traditional exams are basically obsolete when students have AI assistants.
This is my concern exactly. If students can't demonstrate knowledge without AI assistance, have they really learned anything?
But that's like saying people in the 1970s didn't really know math because they used calculators. The tools change, the skills we need change with them.
There's truth in both perspectives. When I taught, I wanted students to understand concepts deeply enough to apply them in new situations, not just regurgitate information.
That's exactly what these new assessment models focus on, interconnected understanding rather than isolated facts. One university is having students create concept maps that show relationships between ideas. AI can help with research, but can't fake genuine understanding of connections.
I'll admit, that's intriguing. But what about the ethical implications? The proctoring article you mentioned, universities are using AI to monitor students during exams, tracking eye movements, flagging suspicious behavior. It's Orwellian.
Yeah, that's where it gets creepy. Last semester, I got flagged because I was reading questions out loud to myself, something I've always done to focus. The AI thought I was talking to someone off camera.
The surveillance aspect bothers me too. We're treating students like potential criminals instead of trusting them.
The data shows a real divide here. Institutions worried about academic integrity are going all in on AI proctoring, while others are redesigning assessments to make cheating irrelevant. It's like two completely different philosophies racing against each other.
And caught in the middle are educators who just want to teach effectively. I spent years perfecting my lecture on Kant's categorical imperative. Now students can get the same information from ChatGPT in 30 seconds.
But Professor, your value isn't in delivering that information. It's in helping us wrestle with what it means, apply it to modern dilemmas, challenge our assumptions. That's what AI can't replace.
She's right. The best teachers I remember weren't the ones who explained concepts clearly, though that helped. They were the ones who made me think differently, who pushed me beyond my comfort zone.
This brings up something fascinating from the research, the 5-tiered framework for AI integration. It's not about replacement, it's about augmentation at different levels. Tier 1 is basic automation, like grading multiple choice. But Tier 5 is collaborative intelligence, where AI and human teachers work together in ways neither could alone.
I'm listening. What would that look like in practice?
Imagine if you could spend class time on deep philosophical discussions while AI handled the background prep. It could identify which students are struggling with which concepts before class even starts.
Or track participation patterns to ensure quiet students get heard. I always worried about the kids who understood everything but never spoke up.
That's exactly what some institutions are piloting. The AI becomes like a teaching assistant with perfect memory and infinite patience, while the human teacher focuses on inspiration, connection, and complex problem solving.
I suppose I've been thinking about this as an either-or situation when it might be more of a both-and.
The real question is how fast institutions can adapt. My computer science department is pretty forward-thinking, but I have friends in other majors where professors still ban laptops in class.
Change in education has always been glacial. Remember how long it took to get computers into classrooms? And we're still fighting about whether students should have phones.
But the data suggests this time might be different. The adoption rate for AI tools in higher ed is unprecedented. Students are driving it whether institutions are ready or not.
That's what worries me. We're implementing powerful tools without fully understanding their impact on learning, critical thinking, human development.
Isn't that always how it works, though? We didn't wait to understand the full impact of the internet before bringing it into classrooms. We figured it out as we went.
True, but the stakes feel higher now. AI isn't just accessing information differently, it's potentially changing how we think, how we learn, what skills matter.
Speaking of stakes, let's talk about equity. The research shows a massive gap emerging between institutions that can afford cutting-edge AI tools and those that can't. Community colleges serving low-income students might get left behind.
Or perhaps they'll leapfrog ahead. If AI can deliver personalized tutoring at scale, it might actually level the playing field.
That's optimistic. In reality, the best AI tools cost money. Free versions are good, but not game-changing. It's creating a new digital divide.
I saw this in K-12 too. Wealthy districts get the latest tech while others make do with outdated textbooks. Technology often amplifies inequality rather than reducing it.
Although some of the micro-learning research suggests otherwise. Community colleges using AI-enabled bite-sized learning modules are seeing better outcomes than traditional institutions in certain subjects.
Define better outcomes, higher grades, better job placement, deeper understanding of material.
Why not all three? My cousin goes to community college, uses AI study tools, and understands organic chemistry better than I do. And I go to a supposedly better school.
Maybe we're measuring the wrong things. Instead of asking if AI helps students pass tests, we should ask if it helps them become better thinkers, problem solvers, citizens.
That's the crux of it, isn't it? The tension between innovation and tradition in education isn't really about technology. It's about what we value, what we're trying to achieve.
Precisely. And I worry we're so dazzled by efficiency gains that we're losing sight of education's deeper purposes, forming minds, not just filling them with information.
But why assume AI is antithetical to that? Some of my most profound learning moments this semester came from debates with AI tutors that challenged my assumptions in ways human teachers never did.
Because they weren't worried about hurting your feelings.
Exactly. The AI would just keep pushing. But why do you think that? What evidence supports that claim? Have you considered this counterargument?
This connects to something interesting in the data about pedagogical transformation. Institutions reporting the best outcomes aren't just adding AI to existing methods, they're completely reimagining how teaching and learning happen.
Examples?
One university restructured their entire intro physics sequence. Instead of lectures, students work through AI-guided problem sets at their own pace. Class time is for hands-on experiments and collaborative projects. The professor becomes more like a coach than a lecturer.
That sounds like the flipped classroom model we talked about for years, but could never quite implement effectively.
Because the technology wasn't there yet, now AI can actually provide the personalized instruction piece that makes flipping work.
I'm starting to see the potential. If AI handles information delivery and basic skill building, human teachers could focus on higher order thinking, creativity, ethical reasoning, the things that make us human.
That's the optimistic scenario. The pessimistic one is that cash-strapped institutions use AI as an excuse to cut teaching positions, increase class sizes, reduce human interaction even further.
Which brings us back to that fundamental tension. Are we using AI to enhance human connection in education or replace it?
Maybe that's the wrong framing too. In my experience, good AI tools actually create more opportunities for meaningful human interaction by removing the drudge work.
I want to believe that. But I've seen too many promising technologies get corrupted by cost-cutting imperatives. MOOCs were supposed to democratize education. Instead, they became an excuse to pack more students into fewer classes.
Fair point. The research does show that successful AI integration requires significant investment, not just in technology, but in training, support, pedagogical redesign. It's not a cheap fix.
Nothing in education ever is. Real learning is messy, unpredictable, deeply human. That's what makes it beautiful.
And also what makes it inefficient by traditional metrics. Maybe AI can help us serve more students better without losing that human element.
Looking at all this data, talking with you all, I keep coming back to one insight. The institutions succeeding aren't choosing between innovation and tradition. They're finding ways to honor what's always mattered in education while embracing tools that let them do it better.
Perhaps I've been too rigid in my thinking. If AI can free me from grading and basic instruction, I could spend more time on what I love: deep discussions, mentoring, helping students discover their own philosophical voices.
That's the dream, isn't it? Technology in service of humanity, not the other way around.
We just have to make sure that's the future we build. Because the technology itself is neutral. It's how we choose to use it that matters.
Which brings us to the path forward. The evidence suggests successful adoption requires three things: thoughtful integration rather than wholesale replacement, significant support for both educators and students, and constant evaluation of actual learning outcomes, not just efficiency metrics.
And perhaps most importantly, keeping human judgment at the center. AI should enhance our wisdom, not replace it.
Beautifully put. As someone who left teaching partly due to burnout, I'd love to see AI reduce the administrative burden so teachers can focus on actual teaching.
That's already happening in pockets. My algorithms professor uses AI to track our progress and automatically adjusts deadlines based on class performance. She spends way more time actually helping us understand concepts now.
The data bears that out. Educators using AI report higher job satisfaction when it's implemented thoughtfully, the key word being thoughtfully.
Then perhaps the race isn't between innovation and tradition after all. Maybe it's between thoughtful integration and reckless adoption.
Or between institutions that put learning first and those that put efficiency first.
Why not both? If we're smart about it, efficiency in the right places creates space for deeper learning where it matters.
That's the conclusion I'm drawing from all this research. The winners in this dimension derby won't be the fastest adopters or the staunchest resistors. They'll be the ones who use evidence to guide their choices, who remember that education is ultimately about human growth.
I'll drink to that. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
So where do we go from here? What's the call to action for educators listening to this?
Start small, measure everything, stay focused on student learning outcomes. The evidence is clear that AI can enhance education, but only when implemented with wisdom and care.
And listen to students. We're not just passive recipients, we're active participants in this transformation.
Wise words from the younger generation. Perhaps there's hope for the future of education, after all.
There's definitely hope. But it requires all of us, journalists tracking the data, teachers sharing experiences, students providing feedback, professors protecting what matters, working together to shape how these powerful tools get used. The race isn't against each other. It's against our own worst impulses to take shortcuts instead of doing the hard work of genuine educational transformation.